So we were discussing about diode approximations. So as we discussed, there are three types of diode approximations. In that, the first one is ideal diode approximation or characteristics. So in this ideal diode approximation, as the name itself tells, ideal. So in ideal case, the diode is assumed to be acting like a switch. That means for a switch, when the switch is open, the current will not flow. When that switch is closed, during that time, the current is going to flow without any opposition. So in ideal diode approximation case, they assume that diode will be acting like a closed switch for the forward bias condition, and it will be acting like open switch for the reverse bias condition. So this was represented by the symbol. This is the symbol for diode, and if I shade this diode, then it is ideal diode. So ideal diode was replaced by a switch which is going to open and close. This is in off state and this is in on state. So they assumed that it is going to offer zero forward voltage drop, and it is having infinite reverse resistance, because if in the reverse bias condition, if the switch is open, so current cannot flow. So when current cannot flow, obviously it is assumed that there is infinite resistance for the flow. This is the assumption. When current cannot flow, so obviously there might be some opposition. So that's why even small amount of charges cannot flow, means obviously the resistance offered at this condition is infinity. This was replaced by open switch and closed switch for the forward bias condition, where whenever a switch is closed, it is going to act like a short circuit where no resistance will be offered. So by considering this, they first replaced the diode by switch, and they connected it to the power supply, and they tried to look into the VI characteristics. So when they looked into the VI characteristics, they observed that IF and this is VR. So under what will be the current in reverse bias condition according to this situation? So it is like this. We are connecting it to a battery and we are having a switch. So what will be I'll be connecting this. I'll be increasing the voltage across this battery. What happens to the current through the circuit?
No current flows.
No current, right? So it will be 0. So it was represented like this. It is completely 0. But when a small amount of voltage is applied, there will be increase in the current. When a small amount of voltage is applied, there is increase in the current. They obtained a graph like this. So when a small amount of voltage is applied, means obviously considering the forward bias condition, because the first quadrant indicates the forward bias condition where they considered a closed switch. So if even when you apply small voltage, current will keep on flowing. Then they compared this with the VI characteristics, whatever we are having. Now just look into the VI characteristics, whatever we have obtained already for the practical diode. Is it matching with this VI characteristics? This and this, is there any matching between them?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. That's why the ideal diode approximation failed, and there is no exact matching with this analysis. Then they assume that, then they came to know that yes, it is not going to start with a small amount of forward voltage. It takes some amount of forward voltage. After that, it starts increasing. After looking into the silicon and the germanium diode VI characteristics, they came to know that this for silicon it is offering 0.7 and for germanium it is offering 0.3 volt. So that means it is going to have an internal battery. It is going to, they assume that it is going to act like a battery. So it has some battery characteristics. So keeping that in mind, they went for the second approximation. So in the second approximation, the modification what was done in the circuit is, see, if I write a diode like this, it is indicating a switch. Please remember that. So they considered that there is a battery. So if you connect a battery to this ideal diode, then it will work out. So ideal diode means it is going to act as off switch for reverse bias condition, on switch for forward bias condition. After connecting like this, they again plotted the VI characteristics, and they could observe that in the VI characteristics, under reverse bias condition, obviously reverse bias condition means current will flow like this. So when current flows like this, during that time diode will be, since it is acting like a switch, it will not allow the current to pass through. So obviously there will be no current even there is increase in the reverse voltage. So it will be connected like this for reverse bias condition. Now when they try to connect it in the forward bias condition, where this will be the forward bias condition, where this is positive, this is negative. When this battery dominates this battery, suppose if you are considering a silicon, so then they considered a battery of 0.7 volt. Now can you tell me at what level of voltage the current starts flowing through the circuit?
Greater than
Greater
0.7.
0.7 volt.
Yes, greater than 0.7 volt. When this voltage, when this battery voltage becomes greater than 0.7 volt, then the current will be flowing, because this is also giving out the current which is opposing this current. So they get cancelled each other. So that's why when this voltage of the battery dominates this voltage, then the current will flow. So they plotted the VI characteristics like this, and they obtained the forward characteristics like this. Then again they compared with the VI characteristics. Is there any matching between these two?
No, sir.
Why? Why there is no matching? What do you observe in the curve shape? Yeah, you can tell your whatever you have analyzed. I'm not expecting the exact answer. Whatever you analyze, whatever you think comes to your mind, you can tell. See, my class will be completely interactive. I'll be keep on asking question. You can keep on. We'll be keep on discussing the things, and we'll understand the subject. Yes, tell me. Anybody? Are they matching? If yes, why? If no, why? Shripad?
Sir, sir, I guess in the first case there is a gradual increase in the current, sir.
Hmm.
But in the second case, it increases at once.
Yes, good. See, that's what. See, you know the answer. You just share the answer. See, here there is sudden rise in current, but here there is gradual rise in current. It is a slope. We are having almost a slope, but here we are having a vertical straight line. So when you are having vertical straight line, this is not going to match our VI characteristics. Why it is not going to match? Because the slope, whatever we are having, slope is inversely proportional to the resistance. Slope indicates that this device is having some resistance, and already we know that diode is having some resistance. Obviously, it should not come like a straight line, it should come like a slope. So that's why again this also this second approximation is also not matching with the practical characteristics. So they went on for the next approximation, which is known as the third approximation, or the piecewise linear characteristics, or piecewise linear approximation. So they call it as piecewise linear approximation or piecewise linear uh, characteristics, because in order to prove this, they used piecewise linear equations of mathematics. That's why the name piecewise linear characteristics. See, anything we might we might rig up a circuit, but we need to have design. That means we need to have some mathematical proof for that. If you are telling you have designed a circuit, that means designed a circuit, that means you are doing some mathematical calculations. Based upon that mathematical calculation, you have designed that circuit. You have a proof for that. If you are telling your circuit is perfect, then it has to be proved by a mathematical equations or mathematical analysis. So that's why they used piecewise linear characteristics to prove it mathematically. So the next one is third approximation, or the piecewise linear characteristics. So as I told, to get a slope, we need to have resistance. So they came to know that obviously there might be a slope, there should be a slope. So we need to connect a resistance such that we can obtain a slope. So what they did is, see, every approximation is the improvement of the previous approximation. Our previous approximation was, it was having a battery along with the ideal diode. So to that they added one resistor. So the shaded portion or shaded diode indicates its ideal diode. Now this is the battery voltage, and this is the forward resistance, and this is our ideal diode. This is the anode, cathode. So this entire thing is the equivalent circuit for the diode. After connecting this circuit, they experimented it and they obtained a waveform like this, VF, IF, and they still assume that since reverse bias means the current will be flowing like this. So obviously this is acting, ideal diode is acting like a switch means, under reverse bias condition, it will act like a open switch. So there will be no current. So that's why it was considered as zero only. The current is considered as zero even for any amount of voltage. But when when the voltage, when it is forward biased like this, when this battery voltage becomes greater than the voltage Vk, then after that there was increase in the current. Because of the opposition offered by resistance, there was not there was the curve was not a straight vertical straight line. It is a linearly increasing line. Now it was again compared with our VI characteristics. Now, is it matching? At least to some extent.
Yes, sir.
So now this approximation, the output of this approximation matched almost with the practical characteristics. So after this, actually we are having fourth approximation or piecewise linear characteristics 2, where along with this they have assumed they have worked out for reverse bias condition also, where they will be connecting one just improvement for fourth approximation will be they'll connect one resistance RR, so which is of high resistance value. Under reverse bias condition, since the diode is acting like open switch, so the current cannot flow like this. Instead of that, the current will, small amount of current will flow like this. So since the resistance is very high, only very few charges can flow through that. That means a very minute amount of current will be flowing through the resistor. So, and they plotted for that. That is not there for your syllabus. You can just study it till third approximation. Fourth approximation is not there. So this is about third approximation or piecewise linear characteristics. So after this, we are having. So now, if someone is going to ask you what is the DC equivalent circuit, then you need to write a battery, resistor, and a diode. This is the DC equivalent circuit. So after considering this DC equivalent circuit, the next topic is DC load line. We understood what are the characteristics or and what are the how we can replace a diode, practical diode, with passive and active components. Now we'll understand how we are going to find out the operating point as well as the maximum voltage and current a diode can give out or diode can withstand. So next is DC load line. So simple problems based upon the equivalent circuit are there. We'll do that later. So DC load line is, it is a graphical analysis of the diode circuit which gives precise level of diode current and voltage. That means it is going to tell you what is the maximum current it can give out and what is the maximum voltage that can be present across the diode. To give that, we are using DC load line. Meanwhile, I told one more thing, that is operating point. See, operating point means it is the current and the voltage at which the diode is operating right now. Operating point is now at what point, at what current and voltage it is working. DC load line will give the extremities, what is the maximum current it can have and what is the maximum voltage it can have across its terminal. Don't get confused. DC load line tell you the extreme levels of current and voltage. Operating point will tell you exact operating current and voltage of the diode. At presently, if you have rigged up a diode and you are connected it to the power supply, and now if you want to know at what voltage and current the diode is operating, then you need to go for operating point. So DC load line it's a graphical analysis of the diode which gives precise level of diode current and voltage. For this, let us take an example of the circuit. This is the supply This is the forward resistance. This is the diode which is having forward voltage. So this is VF, this is IF, and the current will be always in terms of milliampere. And this is the VI characteristics curve, and this will be the DC load line. This line is DC load line. This is our VI characteristics. The point where the DC load line and VI characteristics intersects, that point is known as operating point. That point is known as the operating point. Now the question is, how do we find this DC load line? How do we come to know this is the value of VF and this is the value of IF? For that, we have a small mathematical calculations. So already you know KVL, right? Kirchhoff voltage law. We will be applying Kirchhoff voltage law to this particular circuit. And always remember, the terminal where the current entering is considered as positive and the terminal where the current is leaving is considered as negative. The terminal where current entering is positive, terminal where current leaving is negative. So, and obviously you know that plus to minus gives out minus, minus to plus give out plus, that you'll be knowing it. Now applying KVL to this particular circuit, we'll get minus to plus, it gives E, and coming out here, and let us assume the current is IF, which is flowing here is IF. And in KVL, you know, either you should represent it in terms of voltage or in terms of product of current and resistance. You cannot alone write current or you cannot alone write resistance. So E plus to minus IF into RF. Coming to this, again this is anode, this is cathode, plus to minus, it is minus VF, that gives out 0. Okay, take this as equation 1. Now if you want this point, this IF point, just look into this VF value. At this particular IF point, what is the VF value? What is the VF value for this particular IF value?
0, sir.
0. Okay, so substitute for substitute VF is equal to 0 in 1. When you substitute VF is equal to 0 in 1, here this VF tends to 0, then you will get IF is equal to E by RF. So by calculating this formula, you will be getting IF, and you can mark a point on y-axis. Next, in order to get VF point, you just look into the y-axis. What is the value of y-axis? This is x-axis. VF is on x-axis. Just look into the y-axis value of VF. What is the y-axis value for this point?
0.
0. That means IF will be 0 in 1. Substitute IF is equal to 0. So you'll be getting E is equal to VF. That means the diode can have maximum diode forward voltage can be maximum of the battery voltage. So by knowing this, we'll plot the point. Now after that, we'll join this, and this curve we have already obtained by the characteristics of the diode. The point where both of them are going to meet, That point is known as operating point. That gives you the operating level of the diode. The same thing they will ask you for plotting a DC load line. We have a problem for that. We will solve it later. So after this, the next one is the temperature dependence of VI characteristics. So what happens if the temperature is going to increase? The temperature increasing means it doesn't mean that you need to keep it on a hot environment or you need to keep it on a fire. It's not like that. Or you need to keep it on sunlight. It's not like that. By whenever you are applying more voltage, obviously the more amount of current will be flowing. When more and more voltage is being given, automatically the temperature across the device will be increased. When the temperature on the device is going to increase, heat dissipation will start. This heat dissipation can be tolerated to an extent by the device, but if it is going to cross some particular threshold value or predefined threshold value, it is not the diode or the device is going to be damaged, and we tell the device is derated. So that is known as derating factor. So by knowing the derating factor, you can decide whether the diode is proper or not, or even you can try to know to what range I can apply the power to this particular device. So temperature dependence of VI characteristics. So temperature dependence of VI characteristics, here the first thing is the power dissipation. So power is dissipated in a diode which is equivalent to the product of forward voltage and forward current. As you know, power P is equal to VI. So PD is the power dissipated in the diode. I was telling in the previous class that each device or each component which you are going to buy will be having a data sheet which is being given out by the manufacturer. If I'm going to manufacture a diode, then I need to give specifications and its limitations. Everything should be given in a documentation. A document has to be given out. So based on that document, the users can manage the component working. So in that data sheet, everything will be given to what is the maximum voltage current it can withstand, and what is the maximum temperature it can withstand, and what is the drop in voltage or cut in voltage it is having, and what is the forward resistance it is going to offer. All these things will be given. So you cannot change this value. But when your voltage and the current is keep on increasing, during that time more and more heat gets dissipated on the device. So maximum power that can be dissipated by the device under normal operation will be given out by the manufacturer. If you are going to cross that maximum power, then automatically power dissipation starts, that is heat dissipation starts, and finally the device is going to be damaged. So once the device is going to be damaged, we are going to call it as derated. Derated, that means it is spoiled, it is not proper. So anything, any device, we do rating and derating, right? So based on that, we'll tell it is a good product or a bad product. The same way, here if a diode is said to be derated, that indicates it is not up to the mark and it is not working properly. To this, we are having a graph. So milliwatt versus degree Celsius. So 10, 20, 30, like this we have taken example till 100 degree, and same way here 10, 20 till 100 milliwatt. So this is the power. Y-axis indicates power, x-axis indicate the temperature. See, what is the room temperature? Standard room temperature?
27 degrees Celsius.
Yes, 27 degrees Celsius. See, under room temperature, that means if your diode temperature is till around 30 degree, you can see that maximum power is dissipated. But when you are going to keep on increasing the voltage, during that time, heat dissipation will start. Heat dissipation starts means temperature is increasing. When temperature is increasing 40, 50, 60 like this, slowly the power will be the power output of the diode will be decreasing. So when you are going to reach 100 degrees, see, it is going to melt or it is going to burst out. The diode is going to burst out. So this is the derating graph. We call it as derating graph. It is going to show you how the power is going to be reduced with increase in temperature. Now, what is the formula to find derating factor? So, in order to find the derating factor, it is very simple. First, choose the temperature level where you want to find. So, delta P and delta T. So, derating factor is given by delta P by delta T. So, the ratio of change in power to the change in temperature will give you derating factor, and it has to be taken in the slope only. Okay. So this is about the derating factor. After this, we are having junction capacitance. I was telling the diode is going to have the characteristics of battery, capacitor, and resistor. So till now we have studied resistor characteristics. After that, we by the analysis of diode approximations, we came to know it is going to have battery characteristics. May I know which are the parameters which is going to tell about diode's resistance characteristic, or which are the resistance characteristics which we are having in the diode? Two types of diode resistance we have studied.
The static and dynamic.
Static and dynamic. The resistance offered by the diode for forward resistance, for the AC is dynamic resistance. The resistance offered by the diode to DC is known as static resistance. And I had told you capacitance is not considered in DC equivalent circuit, because the DC equivalent circuit, since we are considering input signal as DC, direct current. For DC, always remember the capacitor is going to block it. for the direct current, the capacitor is going to block it, or it is going to act like open circuit. For AC, the capacitor is going to act like short circuit. So DC, the capacitor is going to block means block. The meaning of block in other way, it is going to hold it. If see someone is going to oppose your movement means he is going to hold you, right? He is going to catch you. The same way here, since the capacitor is going to block the DC, so the capacitor utilizes this DC current to charge itself. So the capacitor can be charged only with DC. Please remember, the capacitor can be only charged with DC. You cannot charge using AC, because the capacitor offers zero resistance or almost minimum resistance for the flow of AC. So when you are allowing that AC to flow through the capacitor will not get charged. But since the DC is blocked, so that blocked charges or the current will be used to charge itself. Okay, now that's why we were not discussing capacitor in DC equivalent circuit, because it is going to act like open circuit, or it is not allowing the current to pass through it. So obviously there is no meaning in using this capacitor there. So it is, since it is blocking, what is the resistance offered? What is the I'm telling open circuit. Okay, tell me, open circuit, what is the resistance offered?
Infinite.
Infinite, right? So short circuit, ideally it is 0. Practically we'll be having some few ohms of resistance. So considering this, in order to write the AC equivalent circuit, we need to discuss about junction capacitance. These capacitance are exhibited across the junction of the diode. There are two types of capacitive behavior, which are diffusion capacitance and the other one is depletion capacitance. This diffusion capacitance is exhibited by the diode under forward bias condition. Under forward bias condition. The depletion capacitance is exhibited by the diode under reverse bias condition. Okay, so we'll discuss this junction capacitances in the next class. Stop it here.